Alright, my caffeine addicted subscribers. This is gonna be a fun video. Alright, today we're gonna go over the mechanism of caffeine, what caffeine is, all this kind of stuff, how to make caffeine. Because I decided to do a 150 subscriber special. So yes, in 3 months, we got 174 subscribers. So yeah, I'm 24 subscribers late. But better late than never. And I got over 14,000 views. So I am very thankful for the support. So I decided, let's do this type of video. I also decided, let's just do this. For every big milestone, I'm going to upload a video about a drug. And then we're going to go over it and how to make it and whatnot. This is all for educational purposes, so don't go making drugs out there. But I decided, it'd be kind of fun to do this. So let's do like a little progress report. So yes, over 14,000 views. I don't know why the watch time is this when it shows something different here, but someone can tell me in the comments if you watch this video. If I actually get viewers on this video. And yeah, I do not make money yet. I'm still broke. Because I need to fulfill this 4,000 hour watch time and 1,000 subscribers. So if you're not subscribed, help me make money. I need it. So yeah, let's do it. So caffeine is a central nervous system stimulant. The structure of caffeine actually looks very, very similar to adenosine, which you'll actually find in like nucleotide bases like DNA and RNA. They look very similar. So look, this is caffeine on the right. Now look at adenosine here. This is when you're nucleotide bases for DNA and RNA. Notice that this section looks very similar to this. This is going to come into play when you actually go about the physiology and the mechanism. Caffeine is found where? So of course coffee, right? Your Starbucks coffee or whatever coffee bean, I don't know, whatever local coffee shop you go to or you make your coffee at home. Yep, it has caffeine in there. Who would have knew? Your Monster energy drinks or Red Bull, whatever your energy drinks you like to, your choice of energy drinks. It has caffeine in there, of course. That's why you drink it. Even medication like Excedrin has caffeine in it, funny enough, to treat migraines. I will tell you something very, very odd. And I don't know why I'm going to tell you this, but why not? But if you were to stick, say like pure caffeine, like a caffeine patch up your rectum, don't do this, please don't do this. It really helps with headaches. I'm not speaking from experience, I've never done this, but that's what happens. And yeah, that's all I want to say about that. Yes, your sodas and teas actually have caffeine as well, believe it or not. Now, you're probably wondering, how do they actually get caffeine in these energy drinks and soft drinks and whatnot? Well, we're going to go over that later in the video. So how does it work? How does caffeine actually work in your body? Well, here's actually a very interesting fact. Caffeine is absorbed very, very quickly compared to other things you can ingest. 99% of caffeine is actually absorbed within 45 minutes. This does not mean metabolized. There's a difference. Metabolization and the mechanism of action, how long it works, is not absorption. They're two different things. So 99% of caffeine is absorbed by 45 minutes. That is like really fast, by the way. This is exactly why if you drink an energy drink and you feel the effects work really fast, that's because why. Now, this is another reason why. Now, your liver likes to take out foreign objects. That's what it's there for. It gets rid of the toxins. However, with caffeine, your liver actually ignores it. So think about like a get-out-of-jail-free card for caffeine. Caffeine just bypasses the liver. It still passes through the liver, but your liver doesn't actually do anything about it, which is quite interesting. No one knows why, actually. There's not enough studies done on why this happens. Why does your liver not do anything with caffeine? There is hypothesis. I have my own hypothesis. And it's probably because it looks like adenosine. So your liver doesn't want to eliminate adenosine, right? Because that's what your body's made out of. So that's my hypothesis. It's not for sure, but yeah. Now, caffeine has a half-life of 2.5 to 4.5 hours. It varies between studies. What does this mean? A half-life means it takes that long for half the caffeine to leave the body. This is why if you want to sleep, don't have caffeine from 5 to 9 hours before bedtime. So all I just did is just double these times. When caffeine is ingested, your body turns 80% of it, roughly 80% of it, into a molecule called paraxanthine. So paraxanthine actually also contributes to the effects of caffeine, which we're going to go over in a second. Now let's talk about smoking. This is an interesting fact. First off, don't smoke. Please don't smoke. There are like 20 million different things that can go wrong with smoking. One of them happens to be that it actually increases caffeine metabolism. So the effects of caffeine actually go away faster if you're a smoker because of demethylation. Now about smoking, if you're a smoker and you're trying to quit, or if you're a smoker and you're not trying to quit, but please do this, go on Google and look up smoking or lungs after smoking and type in like real picture or something like that in this Google search bar. Don't just type it in because it's going to show you like fake generated images. No, type in the real thing and you're going to see what your lungs actually look like after smoking. It does not look nice. And trust me. So this is just a very nice version of it. It looks like 20,000 times worse than this. So yes, I know this is like a kind of an anti-smoking campaign. I mean, you shouldn't smoke. If you're trying to quit, please do. Please get help. But yes. So caffeine affects these kind of systems. It affects the respiratory system, mainly the lungs, the cardiovascular system, your nervous system, and your renal system. What do you mean by renal system? Caffeine is known as a diuretic. A diuretic is another word of basically saying pee. So caffeine makes you pee. So notice when you drink coffee, about maybe 45 minutes later, after it's absorbed, you feel like you need to go to the bathroom, you need to pee. That's why. Coffee is not doing it. Caffeine is the one doing it. There are very big differences. So when people say, oh, coffee makes me go, to the bathroom a lot, right? Well, in reality, yes, that is true, but the real true thing is that caffeine's the one doing that. So in humans, we have adenosine receptors. Remember how I said caffeine looks like adenosine? That's going to come into play right here. So there's 4 main classes. There's adenosine type 1, type 2, type 3, and type 4. Caffeine inhibits adenosine receptors and affects the concentration and release of all these different types of hormones: norepinephrine, dopamine, acetylcholine, serotonin, glutamate, GABA. So just for a little reference here, so let's do, say GABA is an inhibitory neurotransmitter. Glutamate is an excitatory neurotransmitter. Serotonin is for mood. Dopamine is for reward. Acetylcholine is one of the most important neurotransmitters. It's secreted by the vagus nerve. Now what caffeine does is something called acetylcholine esterase. If you watch my physiology video on acetylcholine, I mentioned that acetylcholine esterase breaks up acetylcholine so it can be reuptaked. Well, what happens is that caffeine comes along and tells acetylcholine esterase, hey, stay in the synapse, don't break up, continue breaking up acetylcholine. So when acetylcholine's in the synapse, acetylcholine's going to break it up. Acetylcholine esterase is going to come along and break up acetylcholine, so it cannot bind. Not enough can bind. In turn, this will increase norepinephrine levels. This is why I actually say, let me draw a downward arrow here. In turn, norepinephrine levels go up, and this is why your heart beats faster. So the primary mechanism of action, let's go over what caffeine actually, how it works. There is something called adenosine. It's like a nucleotide base, but it's also a neurotransmitter. You probably did not know that. But yes, it is a neurotransmitter. Now, how adenosine works is it makes you drowsy. So say when you wake up, say you wake up at 8 a.m. In your brain, there's not enough adenosine. There's not too much adenosine present. But as the day goes on, more and more adenosine is being produced and released into the synapse. When adenosine binds to adenosine receptors, which is this right here, you get drowsy. You start to feel tired. This is exactly why, as the day goes longer, the tireder and tireder you feel. You get sleepier and sleepier. This is why. So you'll notice that say if you wake up at 8 a.m., then you're comparing, say you fast forward to 8 p.m. You probably don't feel so tired, right? You don't feel like you want to go to sleep yet. You just have dinner, right? And you probably want to watch TV. You're relaxing, but you don't feel tired. Then compared to that feeling to like 11 p.m., now you feel tired. This is assuming you don't have caffeine in your body. The reason you feel more tired is because adenosine. There's more adenosine being produced and more of it's binding to the receptors. So this is going to cause drowsiness. So drowsiness. Let's just say sleepy. You feel more sleepy. Now, here's what caffeine does. Caffeine goes over to the adenosine receptors and it's able to bind. Because remember how I said caffeine looks like adenosine. Their structure is very, very similar. Right? It looks very similar. The receptor, the adenosine receptor, cannot tell if it's caffeine or adenosine. It doesn't care. I mean, it does care, but it is not able to detect the difference because they look so similar. So caffeine is coming along and binds to adenosine receptors, and it blocks it. It's an antagonist to adenosine receptors. So if the regular adenosine is not allowed to bind, right, there's no binding of adenosine, you don't get sleepy. Because we need adenosine to bind to the receptors for you to get sleepy. Well, if that can't happen, if it's being blocked by caffeine, we can't feel sleepy. Now you're probably wondering, are there ways to eliminate caffeine? How can you kick off caffeine from here? I hate to tell you this, but there's really no way. As far as what we know, there is no way. There's actually ways to increase it to, the longer, to, make it stay there longer. Depending on your liver enzymes, it can actually cause the caffeine to stay longer. In fact, if I remember correctly, so there's, oral contraceptives. So basically birth control. If you are on birth control, this study was done in 1999, if I remember correctly. But a study done in 1999 realized that if you take oral contraceptives, so birth control, it actually causes caffeine to be bound twice as long. So remember how I said that the half-life of caffeine is 2.5 to 4.5 hours? Well, now it's going to last 5 to 9 hours. That's the half-life. So double this time. So you're going to be awake for 18 hours. It's possible for you to be awake for 18 hours, or it's basically don't sleep at all at night. So I may be mistaken, so don't quote me on this, but I believe estrogen containing oral contraceptives actually can cause this. So yeah, and also pregnancy. So if you're on your third trimester, there's more estrogen in your body, and this can also cause a longer duration of caffeine. Let's talk about how you make caffeine. Now, making a caffeine is not really done in this world because there are better ways to actually obtain caffeine. The biggest way and the most common way is decaffeination, which we're going to go over in the next slide. So this laboratory setting of actually making caffeine is not really done. If you're taking organic chemistry lab, you'll probably actually do an experiment where you actually extract caffeine out of a tea bag. I've done this experiment myself. It's pretty cool. I mean, like, it's whatever, but yeah. So pure caffeine looks like cocaine. I'm not even joking, it does. It's like a white powdery substance. That's what pure caffeine looks like. It looks like cocaine. So how do you actually do it? So, we start off with 1,3-dimethylurea. We combine this with ethyl 2-cyanide acetate. All right. And what we do is we put this in a beaker. And in the beaker, we're going to add sodium ethoxide, in an ethanol solution. Now, sodium ethoxide is very reactive. You'll probably notice in organic chemistry lab, or if you work in a lab, sodium ethoxide is actually usually in a container sealed, very tightly sealed. And they usually tell you there's all these warning labels on there. Make sure you close it. Make sure you close the cap after you're done because there's moisture in the air. And the moisture will actually react with the sodium ethoxide and actually ruin it. Doing this will yield you 1,3-dimethyl-4-amino-5-nitrouracil. Now, after you get that product, you're going to combine it with formic acid. So this is, is this formic acid? Yes, this is formic acid. With formic acid or H2O and a palladium solution, you're going to get 1,3-dimethyl-4-amino-5-aminouracil. And then you're going to put that in the beaker. And then you're going to combine with dimethyl sulfite. And you will get caffeine. Very simple to actually do it, but useless. This is, there's really no reason of doing this that I can think of. Because there are just better ways of doing it. By the way, this is the anion form of formic acid, I should say. Sorry about that. That's what I was thinking about. Sorry, I was pausing for a second and I realized, wait a second, this is the anion version. Formation. Or form. Okay, now actually let's go over how to make it with decaffeination. This is this is how it works in the real world. The first thing we need to go over is that decaffeination actually doesn't remove 100% of the caffeine. So when you go to Starbucks or your favorite coffee shop and you say, I want a decaf coffee, there's still caffeine in there. It's physically not possible. I mean, it is possible, but the methods of decaffeination actually do not remove 100% of the caffeine. Now, your decaf coffee, there was a study done, and an average of 11% of caffeine is actually in decaffeinated coffee compared to a regular cup of coffee. So roughly around 10%, 11% of caffeine is still in your decaf coffee. So don't say, oh, I'm going caffeine free, let me have decaf coffee. No, it's still in there, it's just a little less. Now, caffeine in soft drinks and like medication actually comes from decaffeinated coffee beans. They don't go in the lab, do this, get the caffeine and put it in soda. That's just a waste of time, energy, and everything else in the world. So instead they do this. What they do is they take coffee beans, they put it in water, they soak it in water. Then I got the stock image of charcoal, activated charcoal. And what this is combined with the activated charcoal, it removes the caffeine out of the water. So that when you put the coffee beans in there, the water is now enriched in caffeine. Now, the caffeine is separated and put into soft drinks and medication. Decaffeinated coffee beans are evaporated and then sold as decaffeinated coffee. So this is how it works at Starbucks or whatever, coffee bean. Now, the reason it's 11% of decaffeinated coffee around there is because when you soak it in water, not all the caffeine goes in the water, right? There's still some in the bean itself. And there's nothing you can do about that. So then these beans that are quote unquote, decaffeinated, not completely, are then grounded up in for your coffee. But there's still caffeine in them, just not that much. So that's how there's other ways of decaffeination, with elements and whatnot. But this is the best and most common way. So let's go do some fun facts here. So, why do I have a picture of this plant that I drew really poorly? So caffeine is actually a really common insecticide. Sorry. So you actually spray it on plants, literally caffeine. You can spray it on plants and it will kill insects. What will happen is it actually kind of overdoses the insect, kind of bit, and makes their heart stop. And yes, they basically freeze up and die. I'm not even joking. That's how it works. So that's why caffeine is used as an insecticide. Now, you may see this in a grocery, like a Target, Walmart, or wherever you're from, some kind of store. Caffeine-infused shampoo. The reason they're doing this is it says it makes your hair grow longer and thicker. It's a scam. There is no actual evidence that caffeine actually does this. There's actually absolutely no evidence that caffeine does this. So what they're doing is they're putting caffeine in here and then charging you a huge upcharge rather. And they're making boatloads of money off of this, telling you that you're going to get thicker hair. What's probably happening is the minerals inside the shampoo are causing that to happen, like any other shampoo. So caffeine's not actually doing anything. So please don't fall for that. And they're upcharging you, but remember, caffeine is very easy to do. All you have to do is just put in water, get some activated charcoal, which is not that expensive, and remove it. And that's, you can isolate the caffeine here. So it's not that expensive. They're just upcharging you big time. So please don't fall for that. Anyways, that is my 150 subscriber special on caffeine. So here's the plan. I said this in the beginning of the video, but probably my next subscriber special, maybe like 500 subscribers, I'll probably do like weed or something. I don't know. You guys can tell me what you want. I don't actually get comments on my videos. Maybe after this one I will, but we'll see. But yes, thank you so much for the support again. And if you found this video funny, helpful, or anything of the above, or relaxing, I don't know, please like and subscribe. So until next time, later.